He went 18 holes of golfing on his own. So I guess at 36, instead of a video game, those are the kind of things you start doing. And we saw him at the golf course, which was pretty fun. Thank you. Today I want to talk just maybe for a minute. We had a practice last week that I suggested. The practice was letting it go, letting it go. And I suggested that you possibly find a stone, a rock, an object of some weight, some form, and that you then place what you recognized you were holding. The recognition here is key, of course, that you place into that rock what you recognized you were holding, and that you could feel the weight of it, that you could feel the energy sap, that you could feel the depletion, the exhaustion of carrying ultimately those things that cannot be held because they cannot be kept. We understand, of course, as I've talked about before, but I'm going to reframe it for just a moment here. We've talked about the reality that dukkha, and remember, I love that word dukkha because it reminds me of caca. The reality of dukkha is just the realities of the pain of this life, war, violence, hunger, thirst, the realities of this physical body that is born with some distress and pain, and that throughout life, there are also levels of distress and pain, and that it ultimately dies in some discomfort that we just recognize. And in fact, the first noble truth then, noble truth, the first noble truth says, recognize this reality that cannot be avoided, that cannot be escaped, that is a part of this human experience. And particularly in cultures where there is multitudes, abundance, ease, we become, I think, as particularly industrial communities and more, less tolerant of the reality. And so claim suffering as a result. No matter how old we are, when we get illness or disease, it still feels like a violation. And that's not because that's wrong in any way. That's just the realities of this being human. And then we talked a little bit about that other form of suffering. I think the words might be closer than suffering. Words like dissatisfaction, unpredictability, unreliability, the reality that no matter what, that life is ever changing in a way that we, at least part of the time, don't want or like, unreliable in that we cannot keep it stable, unpredictable in that we cannot know, see, and guarantee its result. And so we don't love that either, another form of dukkha. And then there is the third form. I'm going to talk about it a little differently for a moment today. I'm going to talk about that as the way we keep it all separate. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. The way we keep the truths, beginning with the first noble truth, separate from the reality of our life. Like with things like pleasantness, pleasure pleasant sense door experience, fun, um, spending money. We're addicted as consumers, right? Um, Yesterday, as a funny example in the reality of our lives, I started golfing. Hey, I don't have a bad shot. Um, and I got a really icky blister on my uh, finger because we were driving some balls at the golf course, my sister and I. And as I was walking off the course, I was thinking, I got to get a glove. I got to get a glove. And we talked about that for a moment. And I thought, yeah, as soon as I get home, I'm going to get on Amazon. I'm going to get a glove. Well, by the way, I did exactly just that because I'm going back to the driving range sometime this week. And I started to chuckle, right? Like right away, fix this, fix this. And I was recognizing it and smiling about its truth. I didn't feel judgmental about it. And the thing that came from it was, wow, if I'm struggling, not so much really, but right, dissatisfaction, not pleasant with a blister, I'm not going to do very well at the time of death. And I laughed about that truly because there is an essential truth and accuracy in it. Doesn't mean I don't get to buy the glove. That's not my point. My point is, can I see the craving, seeking, wanting nature of no distress, no discomfort, no groundlessness, and in its recognition, at least take a moment. At least take a moment and take a breath. And so last week, I was saying, what do we need to let go of so that we can see most clearly the cause of suffering, which happens to be the second noble truth, the cause of suffering then? Is it the blister or something else? And so just so you know, that was the inquiry. And what happens when we, and I was chucking my howlite rock a little bit, got a little banged up, but it was okay. When I let it go, you didn't have to throw it. You could simply drop it. What happens when I drop the self-pity, for example? What happens when I drop the beliefs, thought that somehow this shouldn't be happening to me? What happens when I drop the storyline that because of X or Y or Z, my life is somehow has greater suffering in it? And then can we also drop for at least a moment, possibly, what we do by habit in order to avoid, get away from, deny? Can we do that? Letting it go, letting the causes of suffering in a moment of stillness go. Well, once upon a time, and then we'll practice, I thought, why? Why would anybody? In fact, I thought about it a lot, maybe let's say 20 years in my practice. Why would anybody turn towards the truth, the first noble truth? There it is, of the realities of this distress. Well, in fact, it was for the very thing that did happen, which was I began to see the way I had constructed demands on life and demands on myself and demands on others to be other than they actually were. Demands on life to be other than it was, permanent, solid, always pleasant. The demands on myself, I've got to make that happen somehow. It's always got to be good, pleasant, accomplishing, growing. And the demands on others, which I have spent the most time on now, recognizing how those first two have now impacted my, however so subtle, demand that others be different. And the truth of suffering is in the demand. And I've spent a lot of time looking at it. But why was the question? Why look? Why feel into? Why look directly, says the Buddha? Not think about, actually experience suffering. Why? Well, what's become clear for me is that the truth of compassion cannot be born until then. The truth of compassion, this most essential capability of our humanness, the thing that we can do, cannot be born until then. Until then, we stay separate, closed, distracted, and running some other way. And then finally, when we feel like we can't run fast enough because life just keeps catching up with us, we finally, if we are fortunate enough, we stop, we pause, we get still, we get silent, and we recognize, oh, this is just life, and the rest is the resistance to what I didn't want to have to let go of. And then we simply begin, from that compassion truly, begin to open. Does this make sense to anyone? Not till then do we truly begin to open. Because what? We're too busy running, accomplishing something the other way. And so today we're just going to sit, calling on our resources, and see if we can abide, beginning with the body, then the breath, then one's true experience, the arising, passing nature of everything. This is the training. Okay, hopefully that's looking like making some kind of sense. I didn't get anybody going, what the hell are you talking about? So I'm thinking we get this at some level. So let's prepare to sit, letting go of what? Not life. We don't have to let go of the body. We have to recognize its ever-going nature. We don't have to let go of the other. We have to recognize that they're expanding and contracting, coming and going, being what we like and want, and being as often what we don't like and we don't want. And can we stop the resistance? Well, that begins with stillness. We just stop running. May I become at all times, both now and forever, a protector for those without protection, a guide for those who have lost their way, a ship for those with oceans to cross, a bridge for those with rivers to cross, a sanctuary for those in danger, a lamp for those without light, a place of refuge for those who lack shelter, a bed for the weary, and a servant and a benefactor to all in need. And so we begin with essential friendliness. I would prefer that you begin with friendliness to beginning with concentration, which is not possible. So if you're zooming in some way, thinking you've got to stick that mind somewhere, this would be solidly unfriendly. And so we just begin to feel the space both within and around us. We cultivate an essential stillness. We just still the body, this very physical body, for a moment, and then notice what else we notice. The weight of the body in contact with the feet, the seat, the hands, the uprightness of the head, noticing the body as it's sitting in space. We might notice the activation, opening, and awareness of a sense door, like seeing or hearing, in addition to that reality of touch. At this moment, I am hearing the morning bird, beautiful song. And noticing not only the sound, but that which is aware. Not just the object, the body, the breath, the sound, but that which is aware. And then we can rest that awareness in open space. And I just think of that as a 360-degree open awareness. This body, mind, being, experiencing in this precious human life that which is arising and passing, both within and around, in open space. You might call this orienting oneself. Then for a few moments, let's come back to the body and find a place within the breathscape or the whole of the breathscape where we notice the ever changing reality of this being alive. The in-breath, followed by a transition to the out-breath, coming to full rest in the gap at the end of the breath. And we bring a light touch there. This is where we let go of everything. Including the possibility of the next in-breath. Can we rest completely there without pining for the moment that was, holding to the moment that is, or seeking the next breath? Let's practice with that for a few breaths. With each breath, we are in training. We do not grip that which was the moment before. We do not try to keep the moment that is. And we do not rush the mind before the body to the moment to come. We let the body offer the instruction with the next in-breath, and then we stay present there. Noticing that there is no one point to the in-breath. It is a processes. There is no one point to a transition. It is a cascading set of nanoseconds. There is no one point in the out-breath. It is, in fact, a continuous flow of experience. Can the mind stay steady even in the flow? Not jumping ahead or holding behind. You can then begin to feel the subtlety of the practice and how this, in fact, is the training for just this one moment. And without too many breaths, we begin to see the cause of suffering. The attempts to hold to something past or to secure something in the present, and the futility. And then the letting go becomes not an instruction, not a demand, not a good idea. It becomes a refuge. We let go of the past and we let go of the future. We even let go of the wanting or not wanting in the present moment. Don't hold the breath. Let it breathe you. We do not claim the breath by being the breather. We lighten the body. We soften it up. Nothing to brace against, nothing to cling to. With each breath, we let go a little bit more of the solid sense of the I, the me, the mind, the body. We let it become particled and vaporous, ocean-like, ever changing. Nothing to grip or hold or keep or reject. Can we let the whole of the body be like that screen door, letting all of life in? And then we can form. And This is a part of the essential training. As we sit in stillness and silence. Letting that which is pleasant, that which is unpleasant, that which is neutral, we begin to respond with equanimity. Through that very opening, not avoiding, not pushing away, not trying not to feel it. No, this is not helpful. Can we know the pleasant as the pleasant and know its wanting nature? And yet be still. Can we notice the nature of the unpleasant? I was just noticing the burning in my nostril. Can we also practice opening, being with the unpleasant without bracing against, without resistance, without not wanting? And can we at least notice the nature of that not wanting mind that builds barriers, creates forts? And can we just let go, relax, put it down, just be still and open? The nature of unpleasant is it also comes and is and changes and goes. The sneeze is done. Rather than freezing the unpleasant object or experience, which is the nature of resistance, we actually solidify it and stick it to us almost. Can we simply breathe, letting it come and be and change and go? Nothing permanent, not even suffering. And then you might see the way we actually solidify the suffering with I am statements. I am broken. I'm brokenhearted. I am in grief. I am unhappy. I am alone. I no such thing. And there is the wish for the stability. I'm open, I'm fluid, I'm never changing. And I have the capacity to abide all change. Can we rest in the groundless ground of awareness itself, watching where we tend to solidify, where we make self, where we grip? And rather than the habit of pushing away or rejecting, we're going to practice that compassion. Can we open so completely? Can we feel it so thoroughly? Remember the question I asked, why? Why would we do this? We do it to recognize it by its nature and the cause of the suffering, the clinging, the resistance, the rejection, the pushing away, the wanting, and the not wanting. Can we see the nature of mind that constructs that unpleasant and makes it stick? The sensations come and go. The sounds arise and pass. The hard breath always has a release. It is the mind, in fact, that is stuck. This is the definition of dukkha. And rather than judge, expect, demand, push away, can we offer ourselves in this very moment those phrases of self-compassion? This is a moment of suffering. It is a part of the human condition. not only I, but others feel this, know this, experience this too. Can I feel with compassion the truth of this for myself, for others, ultimately for us all? It is through the doorway of suffering that compassion is born. But we have to move closer. We have to feel its grip, its weight, its emptiness, its boredom, its restlessness. And can we offer compassion right in that moment? This is a moment of suffering. It is part of the human condition. Others feel this too, and then truly feeling its effects, the grip, the tightness, the choke, we are turning towards the truth of the body, the truth of change, the truth of impermanence. And even the truth of not knowing. And the not knowing comes out of the wish not to turn towards the avoidance. We will stay lost until we can turn toward this truth and abide, experience it directly, not believe, until we feel its weight, its grip, its hold. And until we then let go of the resistance. Life like this. Body like this. Thoughts like this. Emotions like this. Not permanent, not frozen, not mine. And then we come back to the breath. We simply make contact with the experience. We let it in because it's already here. And as we breathe out, we soften, we open, we acknowledge, we accept, and create space. This too. And then visualize the compassion as a glowing, warm, healing light or a salve. And let it spread throughout the whole body. So that we fill this body being with that compassionate presence. We soak ourselves, immerse ourselves in compassion. So that we can spread it around the whole of the day. One drop, one drip, one fine mist, one out breath. And then we just let the in breath touch into that compassionate heart. And on the out breath, we send it wherever it is needed, and that includes you. This is a real opportunity to offer our prayer as we were instructed on Saturday to find a simple phrase. And there were already several. Be still, said Renee, be still and know that all is good. And may this practice today be of benefit to all beings everywhere, without exception. Omitting none. Awakening us and freeing us all. May it be so this very breath and this very day. Again and again. So be it. I saw Dennis, you just come in. I'm sorry. There was, I think, no one here to click you in. Sorry about that. So experiences with this practice today, I combined a few of the things we have been talking about. over the last 2 weeks or so. And I'd like for you to stay in the daily practice. We can drop the rock, the stone, officially now, but I would like you to, if you were not here on Saturday, I would like you to take on that daily practice of invoking a phrase, a poem, a prayer, and offering that to yourself with a moment of pause and stillness at least 3 times a day, which is why we're making them short and sweet and doable. And I offered you the example of Renee's from Saturday. My preference and the research would say best to do it first thing in the morning, last thing at night, and some other moments throughout the day. Just as we establish stillness in that way, you are asked now to practice the power and the peace of prayer. And we talked about on Saturday how prayer does not come with the necessity for a belief. It comes really with invoking qualities of being in oneself, and then also using the resources of all that is around us, including any experiences that you have of the divine, of sacred source. And we talked about that for many people being a direct experience in nature itself, that which is larger, greater than one's own self-cherishing habit. So thoughts about this, the practice, those of you who've been practicing the letting go, to see what we have been avoiding, what we've been turning away from, looking in the other direction, busying ourselves with, and what happens when we take those few moments of pause. My chat's not lighting up, but here is something, so I'm going to take a look at that. Really, really wonderful practice. We'll work on daily practice. Yes, have to leave a little early today. No problem, Leanne. Yes, we all have to work on daily practice. I think the conscious experiences of habits that cause suffering is huge. Yes, it is. In fact, says the Buddha himself, it is the first, greatest, noblest recognition. The one we have to begin with, knowing the truth of distress, the truth of unreliability, the truth of disease, the truth. We begin then to look at what are we avoiding, what are we trying to prevent or look the other way from, and then we can begin truly, this is the practice, isn't it, for us all? Can I be with this as it is in myself, as I am, including resistant? Can I open to that? I noticed a moment, I'll give an example, this week where we are now, a solid week and some days past Jim's, my husband's father's death. And I remember one of my sons saying slightly under his breath, but clearly, how long does this go on? How long does grief live? Shouldn't we be done, or isn't there a way to get over it? Or and it was a real rich opportunity for us all to check in on that wish. Yeah, wouldn't it be great if you said, yes, I will commit myself wholeheartedly for 7 minutes, and then I want it to be over. That was my entire meditation practice for a couple of years there, which is sure, I'll sit in sesshin for some 10 days agonizingly, and then I want it to be done. I want to get it. I want to see it. I want to recognize what I need to recognize, and then I want it to be over. Except there are infinite iterations of the mind and these mind habits. And so, by necessity, no, it is not done. It is changing. That is true. And can we see it even in its changing nature? When we think it's over, particularly with grief, I've noticed. We go like, oh, I think I'm feeling better. This is good. And then, the wave, the quiet moment, the grip, like, how's this going to be? Whatever's true there. And can we train? And it is each of our capacities. That's why we're here. Can we train in the abiding? That's one part. And then for me, in the opening, can I use this very moment of difficulty in which to cultivate compassion? Because it is the only way. We cannot avoid the realities of suffering, of loss, of change, of unreliability, and hope to become compassionate. It's not possible. And yeah, I know it's not a particular truth I like. I really want to gain a lot of compassion and not have to know suffering too. I spent a lot of time trying to avoid it. It doesn't work out that well. Let me save you all a lot of time. Let me see here. It is never over. That is correct, Robin. But we can find the joy in the pain of the loss. Yes, many things can remind us. I have a flower shrine for my mom. I connect every time I walk out my door. Yes, we can connect with it all. The truth of the beauty of it, of the connection of it, of the aliveness of it that is still there, that was there then, and the reality of the grief. It's all beautiful, actually, when we are not in resistance. When we are not in resistance. And what Robin says is there is love and grief as well. And it is wholly accurate. It's completely true. And we have to remind ourselves a lot, don't we? Because left to our own brainstem's device, my habit is to seek something pleasant, even in a good memory, let's say. It isn't that the good memory's not good. It's that, am I avoiding the reality of grief with it? Or could I hold them both? One transforming, transmuting, changing into the other, back and forth, continuous flow. And this is, then I notice people say things like, you have been so strong. Well, that's not true, actually. It's not accurate. You don't have to be strong. You get to be sad or weak or cry or, every other experience. And the abiding it does have a quality of presence in it. It does have a quality. There is a certain kind of fearlessness, isn't there? I suppose that's true, that says, I will turn towards this also, the truth of this also. But not just to suffer. It's not masochistic. It is then in the second and third noble truths, which we'll be looking at, which is, may I do this so that I can abide the whole truth of life with compassion, with ease, with presence. And the answer is yes. As we practice, we get stronger. Yeah, in it. So yes, thank you. We hold those moments and offer ourselves that prayer, that poem, that we recite, we vocalize. Remember, the steps in the prayer itself is one, we call to mind the good the God, the divine, the resource, the quality. Then we visualize it. Then we vocalize it with a phrase or phrases. And then we really immerse ourselves. We experience directly its benefits. Being still for a few moments and letting it soak in. And those are qualities, functions, I should say, functions of prayer that we now know about. And I talked a little bit on Saturday about the research about distant prayer specifically, which is truly amazing. This week, I'd also like you to pay attention, and then I'm going to get ready to go. I'd like you to pay attention to who comes to mind for you. And when they come to mind, rather than just worry, rather than perseverate, rather than just spin a story, can we make, by virtue of our contact with them, an offering? Can we make contact with the truth of their suffering? I've had so many people say it's been so beautiful for me to feel this too. I've thought of you and your family, and I know the truth of that. I can actually feel really amazing the truth of that, and the compassion that comes with it. And so I want you to notice this, that really it isn't just life is suffering. It is not the whole truth. It is the beginning. We make contact with that, but then there's a whole bunch that happens, which is actually quite amazing and beautiful, which is the willingness to be with, the willingness to open rather than close, and the willingness to make an offer, be it a prayer, a compassionate statement, a flower, as Robin said. I want you to notice that when others come to mind, what are you doing with that? And can we make connection and then make an offering? However, that might be a thought, that might be an action, that might be a gesture. And the first work from Saturdays to first do it 3 times a day for yourself. 3 times. Check in on that. Anything else before we go? It's almost 8:15. I apologize for my delay this morning. We had a little outage yesterday in the rain. Wasn't that rain amazing? Greg, I see you're on. Hello.
Yeah, hi, Diana. Thank you very much. That was a good meditation this morning. I just wanted to remind everybody that we are going to be doing another donation to St. Andrew's, and that's on actually the 13th is when we're doing it. So the 12th would be the last day to have any of your donations over to Carrie's house. And again, those are going to be canned goods or packaged items. I'm going to go down to Costco today, I think, and just, get some cases of canned goods and some different things. This is a great thing that we can do for our local community. And 200 families are being supported by St. Andrew's, and we can be part of that donation process. So just reminding everybody for that.
I forgot about it, Greg. So given that I'm the person that actually puts it in the newsletter and I forgot, I really appreciate your reminder. I go to the Dollar Tree and buy tomato sauces and tunas, cans of tuna, chili, and beans. Those are typical. And again, they're each 99 cents or so. And they're all staples, things that people eat every day. So if you can't get somewhere else, most of you live nearby the 99-cent store or Dollar Tree, you can literally get a case of something for about $16. Thank you. We need your help. We need you and your help. And not only is compassion and the idea of offering compassion mental, it has to become actionable, doesn't it? We're committed as a Sangha to compassionate action. And this is the way every other month right now, we are committing ourselves to the well-being, health, and happiness of others. So please do, if you don't know where Carrie lives, text me. I'll give you her address. Most of you have my phone. If you have everything you need, then the only other thing you need to do is get to somewhere, or your pantry possibly, and collect some items before or by Tuesday, because Carrie likes to take it over early. We do not have till Wednesday. She likes to get it early. So if you can do that, please, well, you can do that. I'm not going to forget it. You can do it. Do it. I'm giving up the if you can. Of course you can. We live a privileged life, all of us. So thank you so much for that reminder, Greg. The other reminder it will be that Greg will be here on Thursday at 7 till 7:30, and I will be on Zoom, not in the garden this Saturday, because I will be in Santa Barbara. My husband and I are going up Thursday through Monday, just for a little time for ourselves, which I feel really grateful for. But I will be doing Zoom from Santa Barbara on Saturday, but no garden. We'll be doing the garden the following week, which is the 16th. So please, if you know anybody who likes to show up for the garden meditation, please help let each other know. Carrie's address, and I'll write it here, is 1092 Aloha. And that is right off of Santa Fe going east. After the high school, east of the high school, San Diego Academy, 2nd Street, 1092 Aloha and Encinitas, Santa Fe Drive East, past San Diego Academy. About the 2nd Street, you're going to make a left, and she's about halfway down with a bamboo fence. And there's a tub that sits right in front. I think it's black and yellow, but I'm forgetting. That sits right at her garage door. You don't even have to go into the yard, into the front door. It's right there for you. And so, yes, if you don't know where it is, ask me. I'll give you directions again. And thank you all. We need each other in these times. We will also be doing a holiday basket something, I think, though I'm not sure. We should be checking into that soon. I don't know what will be happening. Greg, do you?
I can add a little bit to that. Yes, Cindy and I are going to be talking. We have been sort of texting back and forth. There is information now out from CRC on that. It doesn't look like they're really encouraging, where we're going to be all together doing something, which is, what we kind of would expect at this point in time, unfortunately. But we're going to talk about what we might do. It might just come down to trying to get some money in CRC's hands so that they can go out and buy what they need.
Yeah.
And because they're going to be very specific in what they have in the baskets, people will be driving by. It's, similar to what St. Andrews is doing, only on a larger scale.
Yeah.
So, but we're looking at that, and we'll have some information out within the next couple, 2-3 weeks.
Okay, thank you. I'm really appreciative, Greg, to you and Cindy for researching that, because we have been consistent for years in making offerings to CRC at the holiday basket time. And thank you, Cindy, for all your efforts there. That is also important, that we do that. The other thing is that please sign up this week for either the Mindful All Day on the 23rd of October at Quest Haven, or any portion of the retreat. We are doing in residence as well as commuter for that week of the It's actually the 25th through the 30th, but we're doing a silent retreat portion Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And so from Wednesday through Saturday, you can come for any 2-day portion of that as a commuter from about 9 to 4:30. And please do we sign up online? Yes, in the newsletter, which I will be putting out today, there will be a link for where to sign up. We do need to know if you're planning to come so that we can make arrangements for that. The 23rd, the Mindful All Day, that's just a 1 day, that's a Saturday. And then the retreat starts for some people who are into the silent retreat portion on Monday. For those who aren't, who are looking for some guidance, it will start Wednesday afternoon. And so for people who want to be commuters, I would recommend Friday and Saturday, or Thursday and Friday of that week. And please join us. Important practice and continuous practice opportunities are important for us all. So please go to the website, which is ncitynessmindfulness.org. And I think it's under /retreat. But I will put it, I'll make sure that it gets back up today on the newsletter. Okay, there we go. Whew, we got all kinds of stuff accomplished. Thank you all. Most importantly, that we make contact with the truth of suffering and the way to its end, which is through this compassionate, open-hearted presence. Thank you all so much for yours. And from that, I trust you will have a very good day. All right, everyone. Greg, lovely to see you. I miss your face. Glad that you're around, and I will look forward to seeing you all on Saturday from Santa Barbara. Hopefully I'll find a spot where I can have a nice view for all of you. Be well, everyone. Good luck with the practices this week. We'll be talking about them on Saturday. Find your prayer, please. Let me know if you're having any trouble. Take good care, everyone.